Hi, I'm Anita, and this is Twisted Wonderland Magic Explained, what Overblot really is. So if you're new to Twisted Wonderland, especially if you got into the franchise with the anime and are left scratching your head, not understanding exactly what in the world happened to Riddle, this video is for you. Also, too, it's for anyone else who loves Twisted Wonderland but haven't been able to keep up on it as much as you would like. You will love this video also. So let's first get into how magic works in Twisted Wonderland, because if we understand that, we'll understand everything else. So who can use magic in Twisted Wonderland? Can everyone in Twisted Wonderland do magic? And the prefect can't because they're not from Twisted Wonderland. How does all of that work? So to answer that question, so actually not everyone can actually use magic in Twisted Wonderland. Some folks can use it, some can't. Some can only do a little bit of magic. According to Curly, magic varies between individuals. I like to think of it kind of a lot like Avatar: Last Airbender, where you have characters like Aang, Katara, and Toph. They all can use some kind of element. And then you have poor Sokka, who can't. So it's kind of a lot like that. But you do have where it's a little bit different in Twisted Wonderland, where there are some characters that they can use like a little bit of magic, but maybe not as much as this or that individual, and vice versa. So to go more in depth on that, so what the game calls it is that each mage has a certain pool of magic that they can pull from. So an easy way to think about it is like an HP gauge in a video game. So each mage has like a gauge of so much magic reserve that they can use, and that varies between mages as well. Like Leona has a huge magic pull, and then where poor Azul does not have a big, at least for a house warden, a big pull of magic to pull from. But don't take your eye off him. That does not mean he's weak. You gotta still keep your eye on Azul. So with that in mind, it's good to now bring up what the game calls mage stones, because they play a major factor in the world of Twisted Wonderland. So fun fact about mage stones, it is said that there's magic in the air in Twisted Wonderland all around, especially in nature. So mage stones actually crystallize from that magic. And so what do mage stones do? Mage stones actually act as a lightning rod. So if you are a mage in Twisted Wonderland and you cast a spell, there's a byproduct that comes off when casting that spell. And that byproduct is called blot. By the way, there is little known about blot. In the story, there's a lot of mystery behind blot. There's a lot of research going into blot, and there's a lot of mystery and discovery still waiting to happen. And so here's one of the most important parts of the story in Twisted Wonderland. So all mages need to keep in mind pretty much, but especially mages who have a high capacity for magic, they have to be extremely careful not to accumulate too much blot. A mage stone actually helps them not to accumulate too much blot, because blot accumulates in a mage's body, and that's where it acts as a lightning rod. So they have to be careful even though with a mage stone, because if they cast too many spells, and it seems like it also depends on their mental state, they can still accumulate too much blot. And if you accumulate too much blot as a mage in Twisted Wonderland, you can go into what they call Overblot. So now what is Overblot? Overblot is a state when a mage has cast too many spells, and it seems also to be tied to their mental state, and they've accumulated too much Overblot in their body to where they can't handle it. It's a toxic substance, I should say. So blot is a toxic byproduct. I probably should have said that to begin with. And when their body accumulates so much that they can't handle it, then what happens is this byproduct, so blot, the runoff turns into a monster, and then the monster is linked to the mage and basically sucking out all of the byproduct, the blot, the toxic waste, and magic from the mage, because that's where the monster gets its power from. And of course, monsters like this in Twisted Wonderland want more and more power and energy. If you don't savor the link between the mage and the monster before it's too late, the monster could eat up all of, for a lack of a better way of putting it, the mage's life force and magic, and they can actually kill the mage and run wild and free, causing destruction in the world of Twisted Wonderland. There is good news to this, even though this sounds kind of scary, actually. The good news is that it never has to get to an Overblot incident. Actually, we learn from Crowley that Overblot's actually rare in Twisted Wonderland. That's a lot of the mystery of the story. They can't figure out why there's so many Overblot incidents going on at the school. But the good news is, as long as a mage, is mindful and careful and gets plenty of rest and good food and takes care of themselves, both mentally and physically, blot doesn't become a problem. So another fact actually about Overblot. So it seems when a monster is eliminated, that all of that runoff, blot runoff, seems to crystallize into something called a blot crystal. All right, hopefully that helps you out, especially if you're new to Twisted Wonderland or just haven't been able to keep up on Twisted Wonderland as much as you'd like. Especially, too, if you got introduced to the story through the anime, where it's kind of unclear how or why or what in the world happened to poor Riddle. I actually have to say I was pretty surprised. I mean, I guess maybe they kind of wanted it to be a surprise. It kind of is in the game, too. I don't know if that's comforting or not to know. It's kind of a surprise when Riddle overblots in the game, not just the anime. But also, too, I kind of wondered why they went that route in the anime. Just because I'm like, man, people are probably so confused on what's going on. What in the world is going on in Twisted Wonderland? So hopefully that helps you out and you're not so confused, and it makes the overall experience with Twisted Wonderland much more fun because you're not left in the dark. All right, so comment below. So if you could take any other character from a video game and put them in Twisted Wonderland and have them be an Overblot boss fight, which character would you choose? I'd honestly have to say, for me, I think it'd be one of the big bad boss from Pokemon. I have to say, I don't know. I just think that'd be fun and interesting if, Giovanni could Overblot or something like that. I think kind of sounds fun. So comment below if you could pick any big bad boss from any other video game and put them again in Twisted Wonderland and they Overblot and you could fight them. Who would that be? Thanks so much for joining me today. And if you love this, you'll love the next one on screen. See you over there.